Welcome to episode 80 of the Pulse of Physiology. I'm your host, Dr. Jim Davis, and today we're focusing on the uterine cycle, which is also referred to as the menstrual cycle. This cycle prepares the uterus to receive a fertilized egg, and if pregnancy doesn't occur, it resets and begins again. By the end of this episode, you'll understand the three phases of the uterine cycle, how hormones regulate each phase, and how this cycle coordinates with the ovarian cycle. So let's start. The uterine cycle refers to the cyclical changes in the endometrial lining of the uterus. These changes occur in response to fluctuating levels of estrogen and progesterone, which are produced by the ovaries during the ovarian cycle. The uterine cycle has three main phases: the menstrual phase, which goes from days 1 through 5, the proliferative phase, which goes from days 6 through 14, and the secretory phase, which goes from days 15 through 28. Now, to be clear, menstrual cycles or uterine cycles have a slight range in how long they occur. So this is just kind of the textbook values. Now these phases align with the follicular and luteal phases of the ovarian cycle. The menstrual and proliferative phase correspond with the follicular phase, and the secretory phase corresponds with the luteal phase. So phase 1, the menstrual phase. This occurs if no fertilization or implantation takes place during the previous cycle. Declining progesterone and estrogen levels cause the functional layer of the endometrium to break down and slough off. This results in menstrual bleeding, and like I said a minute ago, this corresponds with the early follicular phase of the ovarian cycle. Then there's phase 2, the proliferative phase. During the proliferative phase, estrogen levels rise due to growing follicles in the ovaries. Estrogen stimulates the regrowth and thickening of the endometrial lining. The endometrial glands and blood vessels begin to proliferate, hence the name. Cervical mucus becomes thinner, which facilitates the entry of sperm. This phase ends with ovulation and corresponds to the late follicular phase of the ovarian cycle. And then finally, there's the secretory phase. This begins after ovulation as the corpus luteum secretes progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone causes further maturation of the endometrium, increased vascularization, so in other words, increased blood supply, development of coiled glands that secrete glycogen-rich fluid. This phase creates an optimal environment for implantation. If no implantation occurs, the corpus luteum degenerates, hormone levels fall, and the next menstrual phase begins. This phase aligns completely with the luteal phase of the ovarian cycle. So let's do a hormonal recap. Estrogen dominates the proliferative phase. Progesterone dominates the secretory phase. These hormones are produced by growing follicles in the corpus luteum respectively. If pregnancy occurs, hormone levels remain elevated to maintain the uterine lining. The uterine cycle consists of three phases: menstrual, proliferative, and secretory. These phases mirror and depend on hormonal changes in the ovarian cycle. Estrogen rebuilds the lining while progesterone prepares it for implantation. If no implantation occurs, hormone levels drop and menstruation begins. So that's a wrap for episode 80 of Pulse of Physiology. Come back next time for episode 81, where I'll dive into the process of fertilization and pregnancy. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and stay curious.